Okay, right. Hello, class. Yes, this is supposed to be what we're supposed to be doing on Thursday yesterday, but unfortunately we didn't make it to look into detailed estimates. Okay, so I think as previously mentioned, in the order in a Tuesday recording, okay, we have different type of estimates, to be used at different time of the project, different phases of the project, and then they all have different techniques involved, and they are all different in terms of the usage and the accuracy, and also the intended use. Okay, so I think the most important technique that we really must know inside out, outside in, in that sense, is the detailed estimates. Okay, so detailed estimates, it deals with a system. Okay, it deals with a system, and the system doesn't run away from resources. Okay, so as you can see here, this is one example that I have that can be set up in order to calculate the cost of the project. Actually, cost of the project actually is very simple. In terms of calculation, is basically the rate times by the quantity. Okay, so as long as you know the rate, as long as you know the quantity, it's simple mathematics. It's just like punching calculators, or just do simple arithmetics. It's dot plus. That's all. There's no integration or hardcore mathematics involved here. Okay, so what you do is you must have a proper system, and that system doesn't run away from the resources. Okay, so you have your labor, your materials, your plant, your subcontractor, etc., etc., etc. You can have you can split this up into a few things. Okay, like skilled laborers and general laborers, temporary material, permanent material, and plant, and you can have equipment, you subcontract. So this one itself can be broken up to about 6, 7, 8 category. I mean, the more detail you have, the level of accuracy that you're going to have is lots better. Okay, so that is something that you have to be aware of. As long as you can split up into more categories, more details, you will generally come up with a more detailed estimates. Okay, and that would really help if you really want to go for negotiation, because in terms of negotiation, if you do not know your stuff carefully, then when you're being asked to reduce the price, you really have nothing to answer. You see, and then that in itself will actually put you on the losing end of any estimation, on any negotiation exercises. So in negotiation, QS are very good with negotiation, because they will really look at every single thing, like from the door to the panel to the knobs to the nails. So if you do not have that kind of ability, or that kind of knowledge, then you will be lacking of the ability or capability to actually negotiate in a more successful manner. Okay, so again, I think the issue yesterday that we're talking about is your way of calculating quantity. So quantity actually is the one important thing that you are looking at in terms of costing calculation. So normally, you see, quantity here, we're talking about concrete per pier shaft. You see, we're talking about what is the build quantity for these 460 meter cube concrete. You see, concrete, we're talking about ready mixed concrete, ready concrete. Even though you are actually doing it on your own concrete batching plant, the calculation, usually the cost will be the amount to produce that 1 meter cube of concrete plus other expenses. Okay, so the market price, let's say we'll go for market price. This is the rate is per the market price, but the quantity itself is something that is you can actually obtain from the drawing itself. Okay, or the design by itself. As a design engineer, you should be able to look at the quantity. The contractor will look at the drawings to check the quantity. They will look at the BQ to double check the quantity. So BQ and bills of quantity, and also the drawing itself, is actually like a abang adik kind of thing. It's together, so it double check one another in that sense. You see, and then other than that, specification is also very important, because the quality of the material that is involved will actually be stated in the specification. Normally the standards, if you say refer to certain standards, then that standards will also be very important for you to read through. Yeah, so those are the items, specification, bills of quantity, and also drawings are the three contract documents are one of the four most important documents in any project, you see. So after you design, this is an example of a design of how you can do estimation, a bill, you know. So I mean, as a contractor or as the estimator, whom you belong to doesn't matter, as long as you are an estimator, you know, this is one type of systems that you must have, and that systems will involve splitting things up into different categories, you know, into the resources into different categories. And the most important thing is you must have your quantity first, you see. So once you've got this quantity, then you will look at your work breakdown. So in order to construct this concrete in pier shaft, you have the manufacture formwork, erect, strip and clean formwork, supply and place concrete, you know, etc. etc. So you can have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you know, and then you see they are also like third layer here involved as well, you see. So you don't have third layer is also okay, but there are some that is you know, like placing of concrete, curing, you know, vibrating, pumping, you know, placing and curing and all that. So these are some of the third layer activity that you're looking at, and it will involve the cost, you see. So you see your work breakdown now together with your layer 1, 2 and 3. This is how we are actually imprinting it, you know, like we're actually overlapping it with your work breakdown, with your costing, with your, you know, the resources that you've already predetermined earlier on, you see. So if you do not have this quantity, it's almost impossible to do anything really, you know. So with this quantity, then you are determining the amount of formwork that is available. So you're talking about materials here, and then these are temporary materials, and then the rate, you know, the panels, and then this is the amount, and then the ply, the timber, the lumber that you use, like the stringer, the wellers, you know, the stringer, the joists and all that. So these are the lumbers that you're using at this particular rate. So you got 3,960. So and etc. And then the fixing. So this one maybe is under subcontractor. So you have a contract and there's labor here, and you're using how many labor to erect this formwork for this quantity. So you need about 1 week. So this one is part of your schedule, you see. So based on this quantity, you're actually applying 4 workers for 1 week, you see. So tell me this quantity is not important. If this quantity is not important, you wouldn't know how many workers to put here and over how long, you see. So this one is part and parcel of time management that you're looking at, you see. So then per labor 1 week is how much? Okay, 1,000. So you got 4,000, you know, and then etc. etc. So you're actually going through, you know, filling in the blanks, you see. So you describe the work in terms of labor, in terms of quantity, in terms of machineries, you know, and then from there you can see here is a crane truck operators, you see, and you talk about their production rate, you talk about the numbers of usage, and then the hours and days that you're using, you know, and then how many days, over how many days, then you can have your machinery cost involved, you see. So all these are basically your work breakdown, and your work breakdown, in terms of cost, you need to know the workflow, you know, you need to know the workflow and all the resources that you need based on this particular quantity that you have, and the production rate, you see. And then from there, you see, this is production rate, 9 hours per day per lift, you see. So this is actually production rate. So this is one way of formatting it, you know, like formatting your cost, you see. So then after you add it up, the total is going to be 94,564 to concrete to do this concrete picture with this activity, with this sort of layer 2 activity. If there's a next page, then you need to add it up with the next page. So this one is actually 63,000. Subtotal is 63,000 for this activity. So you add them up. So all this subtotal you add up here is going to be equal to this. So this one is a subtotal add up. Okay. So I think this is one example of how we actually, you know, use, you know, description of work, production rate, hours, quantity and all that, and place it into the costing sheet that we have.